Hello there. Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the Headlines. That's a quick look and some opinions on stories of the day. This is interesting. This is definitely a big political season, of course. And so that's what some of this is about today. Please do me a favor. Hit the like, follow, subscribe buttons. It helps. And a little bit of word of mouth goes a long way, too. Let's say you're having a few beers and getting a little tipsy. It comes to your mind. You might mention it to somebody. Wow, that was quite something, really. The primary elections on Tuesday, the president's coattails are very long and apparently quite sturdy. Ken Paxton, former Texas Attorney General, soundly defeated, sitting Senator John Cornyn, who has been one of the most influential senators on the Hill and has been there 22 years. In a normal year, Paxton would probably not even have tried. He has real legal troubles. He's in the midst of a nasty, very public divorce, and he had a fraction of the money Cornyn had for the primary race. Democrats will spend not a small fortune, but a very large one trying to put their far-left candidate into office in November. Republicans are going to have to pony up if Ken Paxton's going to win it. Now, the Democrats will lose, and Ken Paxton will become the next senator for Texas if everything's more or less even. Paxton has President Trump's strong and active endorsement, which clearly swings a very big stick still. Like Cornyn, Paxton will be an ally of Trump and probably even more obedient to the agenda. Here's the real reason Trump went with Paxton. Cornyn, while philosophically aligned with the president, and pretty reliably so, allowed himself to get caught up in the machinery, the political procedurals and traditional processes which move like molasses instead of being ready to fight right now for the Back to the Constitution agenda and like a soldier, get after it, making it happen right now. Why? Because Trump doesn't have a whole lot of time to drain the swamp even further and re-implant traditional Americanism in Washington. And he hopes to hand it off to the next guy, whether it's J.B. Vance or Marco Rubio or even Glenn Youngkin, who will take up the banner and continue the fight against the far left and the inertia of so-called progressivism. Not really much progress in it. Trump feels the pressure of time between his shoulder blades, and he needs soldiers, not just good men and women of solid conservative credentials. Paxton is a bulldog of an attorney, and he will be that guy. Democrats are going to come after him hard, and they will throw record amounts of money at him trying to bring him down. But this is Texas, and the people already know Bill Paxton very well, and evidently they like him. In case you thought that Iran was close to making a deal and a change toward living right and being peaceful, think again. Not only was Iran laying more mines in the Strait of Hormuz, which resulted in the destruction of their supporting missile batteries and the mine layers, now we learn Iran has been pressuring the Houthis in Yemen to go back to attacking cargo ships in the Red Sea. The Red Sea has become the primary route for oil out of other Middle Eastern nations to Asia since Iran shut down the strait. However, now the U.S. has a friend. Somaliland is a small country, a breakaway state, and it's not only supporting the U.S. politically, it would be willing to allow the U.S. and other Western powers and Israel to use its deepwater port and its air base. That would be a spectacular development. Now, it would be bad news for the Houthis because their terror facilities would be very much in range of U.S. planes and ships that could use the Somaliland port of Berbera and their airbase. Israel has already officially recognized Somaliland as a country. The U.S. could be next and should be, but it is complicated by this reality. The U.S. is already friendly with Somalia, from which Somaliland declared its independence in 1991 successfully. Now they are looking for official recognition, and we could use that partnership too. Plus, unlike nearby Djibouti, we don't have to compete with China for presence and access. We're using Djibouti, but so is China. And they have been spending a lot of money over there. So this would be a really nice option for the U.S. Nobody wants Ebola to invade their country and infect and kill their people. The Bahamas, Canada, and Thailand are the latest to restrict travel from Ebola-stricken regions of Africa. The situation there is likely to get worse before health officials get a handle on it all, and they don't need infected people spreading it like COVID. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are still one of the nation's it couples, and she's still going great guns with her music. Kelce is nearing the end of his NFL career, and it's been a great one. It's also made him a lot of money, and he has not been profligate with it. In other words, he still has a bunch of it. He just bought a minority ownership stake in the Cleveland Guardians, Major League Baseball team. What used to be the Indians, before wokeism robbed the team of its legendary and prideful name. Kelce is from Westlake, Ohio. He was a three-sport star athlete, baseball, basketball, and, of course, football, at Cleveland Heights High School before going to college at the University of Cincinnati. As he put it, any Cleveland kid would be through the roof at the opportunity to join the Guardians ownership group. The Guardians, at the moment, are leading the American League Central Division. Kelce will throw out the first pitch for the Guardians-Tigers game on June 14th at home. If you are enamored by the space program, heads up. NASA has signed some contracts for new lunar landers and for cargo landers for missions to come to the moon. Yes, plural, landers for both going to the moon and cargo once you're there. Astrolab and Lunar Outpost will be developing designs for new lunar rovers. Each contract roughly $220 million. Blue Origin will provide the landers for those rovers. Robotic could be worth nearly $500 million for Jeff Bezos and company before it's over. The plan is to build a moon base, humanity's first outpost on another celestial world. Americans and others will become extraterrestrial. Firefly Aerospace will build spacecraft to take drones to the moon for the Moonfall project. Short drone flights hopping about the moon's surface in search of good landing sites. And NASA says the first 3 moon-based missions are planned for later this year. The goal is a moon flight with a human crew, Artemis 4, in just 2 years. The Trump administration has decided to treat federal workers like anyone who works at a major corporation and knows its secrets. Sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Kind of surprising they haven't had to do that in, forever. The NDA says if you have access to confidential government information, it stays confidential. You don't leak it. For example, to a ravenous press corps. The NDAs are meant to document employees' acknowledgement of what are already currently legal obligations and to agree to comply with those rules, which they've known about since taking the jobs. The ACLU claims it's a violation of the First Amendment, that government workers have a right to leak secrets. No, they don't. There is a Russian tanker filled with diesel fuel that's been trying to get to Cuba, dodging this way and that, hoping to penetrate the U.S. blockade. The Universal, that's the name of the ship, has apparently given up after weeks of trying and failing, or maybe it's just trying something new, which I happen to think is a little more likely. That ship is sanctioned not just by the U.S., but also the European Union and the U.K. We don't know where it's going right now. Joe Biden is trying to keep the facts from coming out about his own mishandling of classified documents and what he has had to say about them. He's suing the Justice Department which is delicious irony given his record of using justice for his own personal political cudgel against everything Trump when he was in office. He's trying to block the release of audio recording and transcripts from the special counsel investigation. These are interviews he gave to a ghostwriter, Mark Zwanitzer, who worked with Biden on his memoirs. What it amounts to is Biden wanted certain stuff in his memoirs. He made that public. But what he told Zwanitzer and didn't want to divulge, he still wants to keep secret. I guess that makes sense. I mean, from his point of view. I guess that's going to do it. Thanks for dropping by. Thank you for tuning in today. And I hope you'll come back. Like we said, bring some folks with you. You've given me a little bit of your time, and I appreciate it. Worth mentioning, we're also found on Spotify, both video and audio, as well as X and Facebook. Do a little search for just Harley Carnes podcast. It'll work. I am Harley Carnes, and until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious decisions, choices in your life. Make a decision to be happy and fly safe. It's the only way to get there.